went to Uganda with a missions trip from Lighthouse Church in August of 2018. I wanted to share a little something that had changed my life while I was there. As a background, when I first, heard about the missions trip, I felt drawn to, to go help people or do things like that. But, as I started processing and thinking about it, I wondered, what do I actually bring to the table? So, as I went through, I started, submitting and talking with God, and I was led to go. So means were made, and I raised the money and was able to attend this missions trip, and I'm glad I did. A background of it, I used to serve in the military, so I had been to Africa previously on separate occasions, and I had seen things that people were in anguish and pain, and it left a mark in my life where at night, as I slept and stuff, I've suffered from bad dreams, nightmares, they call them night terrors, whatever it may be, but I carried a lot of guilt from what I had seen over there, and so fast forward, this was something that I was returning to Africa, and it had stirred up a lot of past memories that I was dealing with. We got into Uganda, we arrived, and we went to visit the school first day. It was incredible what I saw. Immediately I was touched by just the smiles and the love that I saw, and the care that the staff had for the children, and just to welcome us as a bunch of visitors there, and it was just an incredible thing. But what changed my life was on the second day. We were going into the slums. It's called Bukasa. And the last time I had seen slums like that, I was in a military type of thing, and I had a different memory. This time I was being invited in to people's homes to pray for them. We had hygiene bags and stuff, and we just wanted to get with them and let them know that they're loved by God. And we had went into this one lady's house, which is probably a small little shanty of about 8 foot by 8 foot, and she rolled out the red carpet to us, and I was just totally touched by that because I was totally being invited into her life. And me and the rest of the team members that were there, we sat down and asked what she needed prayer for, or if she needed anything prayed for, and we prayed for her and her family, and it's just an awesome experience to be with them. It wasn't anything forced. But at the end of that visit, what was so profound was this lady, and we knew that she didn't have very much. You could look around and see where we were at in the slums, and it was a dirt road with irrigation going through with body waste and other things in it. And she gave our team leader 3 eggs that she had. And I knew what this represented. It just struck me to my core, because this represented meals to her or children. And, and I knew that she gave this, freely and with pure love in her heart. And so I was touched deeply when we had left. I knew that standpoint with her. It was incredible. So fast forward the next day, I was back at the primary school working with my team. We were doing a painting project on the school. And Pastor Francis, I didn't know who he was at the time, but I got him identified later. He walked up to me just like on a beeline and said, "I have something I need to talk with you about." And I'm like, "Okay." And he goes, "God has scriptures for you, and I want to share them with you." And I kind of was taken back by that, so just having a man that I didn't know come up to me. So later on, we had assigned a time. It was at lunchtime we would talk. We went into lunchtime period, and Pastor Francis found me where I was working, and he said, "Are you ready to talk?" And I said, "Yeah." So we went into his office, which was in the library, and Pastor Francis just had this just love about him, this smile, this disarming way about him. And he said, "I have some scriptures I need to share with you that God's given me about you." And he didn't know anything about me. He didn't know about my past. He knew nothing. I hadn't shared it with anybody. It was something that was a turmoil within my heart and in my mind that I dealt with for well over 30 years. It started back in 1986. So at this point in time, I started listening to him, with kind of a guarded way, and he started talking, and I'm just like, "All right, God, if this is what you have for me, I'm going to listen." Because I have heard people tell me, "I'm forgiven, you don't have to have guilt, you don't have to have shame," but in reality, you do. And it's until you internalize yourself and you can actually forgive yourself that I found out in our conversation with Pastor Francis that I actually was guilt-free in everything that I had done. I did nothing with malice, because he had sat there and looked me dead in the eye, and I knew it was coming from God. And he told me, there is nothing to forgive. God wants you to know there is nothing to forgive. At that point in time, of course, I broke down and started crying. And it was a lot of years of carrying this guilt. And right now I want to come to tears, because it's just freeing for what took place there. So after that, we hugged and talked, and we were like lifetime friends at that point in time, and it was awesome to see a man who loves God in a Ugandan country, knows nothing about me, but yet he was so in tune with his voice that he could come and minister to me. And here I thought I was serving them. So with that being said, if you do falter on the idea of going to a missions trip or not, your past may not need to be addressed, but there is something that you think that you're not qualified for. Believe me, you're qualified to go and go with Buyamba and go do a missions trip in Uganda. It will change your life forever, as it has done for me.
Praise you, God of earth and sky.